Moving on, it's come to my attention recently. Well, now I had the pleasure of sitting down not once but twice with Miss Janice Dickinson. She was your roommate. I know you're such a fan of Janice. I'm being a little sarcastic. She was your roommate on Celebrity Rehab. You were on Celebrity Rehab for love addiction, I believe.
Correct.
And it has come to my attention that when you went in for treatment in the real world for love addiction and relationship issues, you were at a place called the Meadows, which, that's a long time in the past. It is, my eyes have been open as my listeners here. These guys don't overlook anything. Miss Raquel Leviss, this is where she just spent her 6 months, 4 months, whatever it was. So you were in the same facility as Raquel Leviss?
If that is where she was I was
Yeah.
at the Meadows in Berg, Arizona. Let me say something about this place. First of all, we were talking about earlier, there's some rumors about how much it costs, how long she was there. The program is a 45-day program. They have a women's clinic. It is called the Willow House. That is the women's facility. They take up to around 12 people. The men's facility is called Gentle Path. And, they focus on people with love addiction or intimacy issues. And that is what you are dealing with 24/7 while you're there. You can't call out. You can't have phone calls come in. You can make one phone call. Was it one phone call a day? I'm trying to remember now. You can make one phone call, but it has to be after you've been there for 2 weeks and you're really discouraged from using a phone, and you're in the main house with everyone when you're on the phone, so everyone can hear what's going on. So a day in the life there, first of all, it's super boring. It's a really, as I said, really small unit. You do a lot of mental diagnosis things first. For the first 10 days, you're being diagnosed. They spend a lot of time doing that on you. Once you're diagnosed with what you have, then they work on that with you. You get your own therapist, your own medical doctor. You get, if you're going to be put on pills, you get the pills. You get whatever your treatment plan is. That starts after day 10. But usually these programs are 45 days, not 6 months, not 4 months. If she disappeared for longer than the 45 days or thereabouts, people are there for different amounts of times, but not more than that. People are not staying for 90 days. That's just not happening. The treatment is done when the treatment is done. And, you become close with the people that you're there with, but you're really working on yourself.
Is everyone there just for like love addiction and stuff like that? Or is it all types of treatment?
No, it's a women's facility that are just there for love and sex addiction mostly, and intimacy issues within their family or themselves. So it could be people that are having a lot of post-traumatic stress disorder surrounding that. We were not in the general area who are dealing with addicts for drugs, alcohol. That was not what people were dealing with here. We were dealing with issues relating to relationships. So when I got my diagnosis 10 days in, I was diagnosed as having PTSD. And that was it, which I was kind of surprised about. I thought I would get diagnosed with depression and all this stuff, but it really wasn't that. It was post-traumatic stress disorder from going through a couple major incidents and, in the what affected me personally, meaning the scandal that I was involved in, that was like the biggest scandal of the decade at the time. And also losing my fiance in September 11th and having my photo be the main photo from that event. Obviously I was caught up in all that. So, I became the face of that. I was known as New York's tragic face, actually, is how the Post wrote me. So I really hadn't dealt with that fully. And I closed my businesses right when COVID happened. And I was really at a low point. I didn't know my identity beyond who other people saw me. And I was in a desperate place where I needed to take a time out. That's how I found myself there. And actually, I've never told people this, but I called Jason Waller, who I was on Celebrity Rehab with, and he got me a scholarship to go there. So they paid, it's $65,000 for the treatment. He got me a scholarship to go, and I went, and it was the scariest thing I ever did. And I felt really lonely. But I went, and I still have the books, I still have all the like kind of lesson plans. It was really hard, but it did good things.
I had Jason Waller on this podcast. There you go. You should reach out to him. He should be a guest on yours. Great
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah. He is a good guy.
So if Raquel, I mean, she's been somewhere all this time. It really is like an up and out type thing. Like, what if you're not cured after 45 days? Like, where has she been then?
Well, you're not gonna cure a lifetime of your feelings, right? You're just gonna get the tools to move forward with them. That's what they really work on with you. She's not cured. She's not sick. Like, this is not a girl who's like should be kicked into the trenches and people label her forever. The girl made a mistake based on her own issues and based on the things that the person she was making a mistake with told her and enabled her to do, and they did it together. But she, she got shamed for it. And I think all of that shame, very similar to me, all of that shame from other people really puts you into a black hole of depression. So I think she went to deal with, in my opinion, why she made the choices she did, what happened in her childhood that made her, get to the point where she feels these things, and how she's going to get out of it and how she's going to turn her life around. And after you come out of there, your friends and your life is different. She might have started from ground zero being like, I am, I can't speak to anyone I had in my life before because they're toxic, and I only want people around me who are going to support me. So I don't, I think she's probably with her family, or she could have been alone, but she hasn't been at this treatment clinic for 4 months. That's ridiculous.
And then what about this claim that, she racked up a $200,000 bill at this Meadows where
they don't have bills like that. That doesn't happen. It's not a bill. You're not spending money. You get a little bit of a stipend to go get like deodorant and shampoo. The program is $65,000. If she did back-to-back programs, the most she could, spend is 130. But I would put money on the fact she went to the program once, and either she got a scholarship from someone to help her go there, which I wouldn't be surprised if she got it for free. Or, somebody in her family or her paid the 65,000. That's it. I don't believe anything you read, you guys. You gotta know that stuff is all inflated by people that don't know facts.
Honey, I don't believe anything I read. I mean, I think her family is somewhat well off, but I guarantee you she probably
doesn't matter how well off you are. You're not spending 130,000 or 200,000, whatever the news is reporting, on a rehab when this girl isn't dying from her addiction. She's not dying from her addiction. She needed to go there to reset her life. And I commend her for that. I think that's great. But like, I don't buy that her family is spending that kind of money to rehabilitate her. She didn't murder someone. Come on. This is like ridiculous.
No, I just have the question of where has Raquel Leviss been for the past many months if you can only be there for 45 days or
she
whatever.
She was hiding out with her family for a good month. Then she got into the treatment clinic. That's a month and a half. Then she probably went back to her families. I mean, you do a lot of work with your family.
Well, speaking of, starting over, like you said, now apparently she has, I think the marketing optics on this, I'm just a jaded person. I think there's a team involved. She's now coming back to the show, apparently, and she's no longer Raquel. She's going back to her original birth name of Rachel to symbolize that she is now a different person. I'm sure it's all great and maybe she got help. I'm just jaded of like the marketing optics on this, to me, are smart. She's holding out for money.
You can't go away to a place like that and not get some tools to help you change. So if she decided from that, I want to go back to my name, Rachel, I want people to know me as who I am, the core of me, and that's Rachel. That's why she probably made that decision, not because somebody was sitting with her being like, this would be so epic if you changed your name back and we got all this press for that. I don't think she's not that smart. No, the people around her are not like crisis manager that smart. And
you don't think so?
No, I do not. And it's common sense that the people around her or her are saying, excuse me, I basically made that show because I was the villain. So if you want me to have to go through that again or have to deal with all the backlash next season, you're going